Hey Jim, how are you doing today?
I'm fine, Ralph. How are you doing?
I'm doing superbly. We've got a crew at our house painting the exterior, and it's making me real happy.
You're no longer going to have a two-tone house?
No,
Okay. For our listeners, Ralph and Karen have had a house that was what? One half dark green and one half, well, kind of blistering paint coming off the sides. So,
yeah, white paint
white.
at that. So a
Okay.
green and white house is now turning into a greenhouse.
Okay, so nice creative project going on here, right,
Yeah,
Ralph?
yeah.
And you have a big crew.
Yeah, we've got about 15 people. They're a local church group, and they volunteered if we got in the paint to do the painting. And I'd sooner have a 17-year-old up on a scaffold than myself.
I agree. I agree with you 100%. So, hey, that's a creative way of getting your house painted.
It is.
Notice how I got the word creative in here?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
And we're going to continue today with our series on creativity. And specifically, Ralph, we're going to look today at brainstorming.
Yeah, and there's a number of interesting things about brainstorming that we can talk about. Uh, a lot of people think that they know all of the ins and outs of brainstorming. You just sit down and talk to people and pick out the good ideas that are generated. There's a little bit more to it than that.
Okay, well, we'll dive right into it. Hey, Ralph, you said brainstorming was more than just having good ideas. I like what it's attributed to Edison. Someone said, how do you have so many good creative ideas? And he said, well, I have a lot of ideas, and I just keep the
Best, yeah.
keep the good ones. And so that's what we think of often when we think of creativity and this process called brainstorming.
We do, and actually, when I said there's a little more to it, there are actually three types of brainstorming.
Okay.
So we've got verbal, which is what we usually think of, where people sit around and with certain strictures on what they're saying, which you'll get into in a minute, they just generate ideas.
Okay. So generating ideas. And that's also referred to as fluency, coming up with a lot of ideas.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, that was originally developed back in 1957. I've been around before that, but a guy named Osborne was the first one to kind of codify it, and he put that idea together and wrote it up in a book called Applied Imagination.
Okay. Applied imagination.
So if you're looking for something that goes back to the first genesis of brainstorming as we know it today, that would be the book to get.
Okay.
Now, there's another couple of things. One of them is nominal group technique, where you have the group, which is whatever group you choose to put together, and they should have, in an ideal world, something in common. Same division of the company, same problem that they're working on, and maybe in different labs, etc., etc.
Okay. So nominal group, what did you call participation?
Nominal group technique.
Technique. Okay.
And the third one is electronic, where you do it by remote with things like a Zoom meeting or by email. The difficulty with that is that it takes longer and is a little harder just in terms of the actual mechanisms to do.
Okay. So with these group approaches, usually you're going to have one or two people that will act as the scribes
Yeah.
for the group, the writing down the ideas, and then the group is encouraged to come up with as many ideas as they can, right?
Right.
And the
Now-
wilder the better.
Yes. Now, the thing is, usually when you have a formal brainstorming, there's somebody who we'll call a moderator, and the moderator is the one who sends out the agenda, which essentially is naming the problem.
Okay, so step one then is to be able to identify the problem that you want to try and solve through brainstorming.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
suppose, just to pick a random idea. Suppose you wanted to develop a better electric razor.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that you could look at is what do we have now? How does it work? Can it be made to work better? Should we make it work better? How much would it cost to make it work better? All of these ideas are things that you could throw out in a brainstorming session.
Okay. Well, making a better razor is certainly a problem if you're with the chic razor company, I suppose. But here's another thought. Let's see. Houston, I think we have a problem.
Okay.
Okay, Apollo 13. All of a sudden, they've got a broken rocket ship that has to be fixed pretty quickly, or the guys freeze to death, or they go into deep space and they're never
seen again.
Never seen again. So that too is a way of kind of identifying a problem.
Right.
We're lost in space, and the movie Apollo 13 actually does a pretty good job of showing the brainstorming process.
Yeah, and it's easy to say, Jim, because you've done brainstorming once that you know all about it, but that turns out not to be really the case. There are more nuances than we might think of.
Okay. Well, nuance me on there, Ralph.
Okay, well, let's talk about some of the main techniques. First of all, there's brain writing.
Brain writing?
Yes, and in that
brainstorming, brain writing. Okay, I get you.
Writing.
All right.
So what you do then is, as you're brainstorming, you as one of the people think of the ideas and write them down.
Okay.
Rather than calling them out for a scribe to write down.
Okay.
There's rapid ideation, which we've talked a bit about, where you try and generate as many ideas as quickly as possible. There's the electronic image method.
What is that one?
Well, that's where you take, you have a screen in front of you, so you're working on a computer, obviously, and you attempt to generate a picture of what your ideal looks like.
Okay, so with your razor, what would that picture possibly be?
Well, suppose, for example, that you think of an electric razor as it's currently done. We have the 3-head, we have the single head. Those are both quite well known today. And suppose we said, well, does a 6-head razor make any sense?
Aha, okay. Yeah, I can remember back in the day, my father got a new razor, an electric razor. And I can't remember the brand, but instead of having the heads going back and forth, they had these little round things, these circle things.
Circle things.
Yeah.
So, is obviously that was something that they thought better working at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, suppose we said, well, we're going to go for a 6-head razor that 3 of the heads go in circles and 3 of the heads go back and forth.
Okay. Yeah. Might
work better.
Mm-hmm. You can certainly make one of those things.
Yeah,
and
let's prototype it and try it out on 100 people with various beard types.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then there's round robin brainstorming, and you talked about that a little bit. And that's basically where we go around in a circle and everybody announces an idea, and maybe you hold the electronic razor in your hand and look at it and announce your idea and hand it to the next guy.
Okay. And the thing about the round robin method is that the next guy one, might have an idea, and then you can pick up on that with your idea. For example, your idea was 3 round heads, 3 back and forth heads, I might then say, but we want something that is easy to hold.
Right.
It fits comfortably into the hand. And this thing, monstrosity that you come up with, is so big that it can't fit into the hand. But I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Because that would be judgmental. And,
Right.
and criticism and brainstorming is not permitted.
Yeah, so you might say something like easy to hold.
Yes, easy to hold. Okay.
So then somebody else from, the fifth round, the fifth person in line might say, well, suppose we designed something that was like you've seen the pilot's oxygen mask. Suppose we designed something that was like an oxygen mask. You just put your face in it, and that's where the razor is.
Okay. Well, again, no criticism. We're going to go on to the next person.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm thinking at this point, if I have to be kind of honest, that I wouldn't want to put my face into something that looks like that. But hey, we're going to go out and evaluate these ideas later on. So we're going to get as many ideas as we can, right?
Right.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking at this point. So it's back to me, and I want something that's waterproof, because very often I'm going to be shaving at the sink, and guess what falls into the sink?
Yes. Yes.
And this might actually have a corollary, because I might decide that I want to make my phone waterproof as well.
Okay.
So
And now
that could be
here's
piggybacked into another.
yeah, and here's another idea off of that. So we've got our phone. Everybody has their phone with them most of the time. Suppose you incorporated a razor into the phone.
Wow, that's an interesting concept. It's kind of like incorporating a radio into a car.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, all of these are possibilities. Some of them are good, some of them are better, some of them, maybe 2 of them are best.
Mm-hmm.
But the evaluation process is separate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, do we have a time limit on these? Do we give people, say, well, the Apollo 13, there was a time limit.
Right.
If they don't solve the problem within a couple of hours, the astronauts are toast.
Right. Now, there's another technique called the stepladder technique,
Okay.
and that is an interesting one because what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's say we've got a group of 9 people.
Okay.
We're going to take 2 of them, you and I. We go into a room. Everybody else is outside the room. The problem is articulated, so we know what we're going to talk about. We have 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we talk back and forth for 5 minutes. We write down our ideas. And then a third person comes in. And they read what we've got. And they contribute new ideas.
Okay. The idea being that we're not, you and I could be kind of stuck with maybe functional fixedness, that we're just looking at the blades going back and forth, or the blades going around, whereas the new blood might have a whole new take on what the problem is. Okay.
So, and then we write down any contribution that they have made, another person comes in, etc.
Yeah.
So we have, the step ladder, we're all one step higher with the new person.
Okay. Now, with the step ladder approach, we start with 2 people, you and I. We add the third person. Now, when we add the 4th person, now we have a group of 4. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So we're not taking anybody out of the
we're just,
room.
and the first 2 people, if the 4th person adds something that they think is a terrific idea and that gives them another idea, they can articulate that as well.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
the group builds.
Okay, so piggybacking ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Now, the other thing is we could start, let's assume for a moment that we're we're doing this by electronic means,
Okay, like a
We-
Zoom meeting or something.
like a Zoom meeting. We
Yeah.
could start by saying, okay, we have um, we have 10 minutes now to think of ideas. And
Okay,
of course, we're not in the same room, so we're all thinking by ourselves for the 10 minutes. We could do mind mapping,
okay.
where we take the problem
Mm-hmm.
and we put that in the center, and then spinning off, we put all of our ideas. So they go around kind of in a circle or a square, however you diagram it.
Okay,
And we take all the adjunct ideas we have to solve the problem.
okay,
And then at the end, we can combine mind maps.
okay. Yeah. Now that's going to require somebody to actually be able to do this, right? So that's
Right.
the moderator person again.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing, and this is sort of the last ideas that I have at least, is that today many people are app users
Yeah, right.
because most of us carry our phone around with us and we like to have an app.
Mm-hmm. A nap?
No, an app.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I like to have an app, but I also like to nap.
Okay.
So there are four main apps for brainstorming. One of them is bubble.us,
Okay.
which is specifically for mind mapping.
Okay.
There's Koggle, which is not Google, Koggle, Coggle,
Okay.
which is a brainstorming app.
Okay. We should put these under learn more, shouldn't we?
We should.
Okay.
There's Freeplane,
Free plane? Okay.
Plane,
Okay.
which is a way of also developing ways to organize your ideas.
Okay.
And there's Lucid Chart, which is a way of making several kinds of charts based on the brainstorming.
Okay. So we've got Google, we've got Bubble something or other, right?
Bubble US,
Okay. And Lucid.
Freeplane,
Free plane and Lucid what?
Lucid Chart.
Lucid chart. Okay. Well,
So, for example, we have our brainstorming session. We come up with a lot of, these are hellaciously good ideas. How do we put them out to the rest of the company or the rest of the group or the other teachers or whoever you're working with? Well, one of the ways of doing that is to make a chart.
yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
So we can more easily sell something which is in a visual form than we can the raw verbal idea.
Yeah, good point. Because we do want to sell our idea if we think we have a good idea.
Yeah,
And I remember a number of years ago in the book In Search of Excellence, there was a story of the 3M company. And with 3M, when a developer is encouraged to have new and creative ideas, but then that developer has to quote sell the ideas to the rest of the company,
yeah,
and things like post-it notes and DVD discs were here's 3M. What does 3M do? They make sandpaper, for heaven's sakes.
yeah,
But well, they do more than that. They do Scotch tape, they do Post-it notes, they do the little laser discs, and that's all part of this creative process, which came from brainstorming, recognizing that they have something unique, and then being able to sell it to the rest of the company.
yeah. And the example, Jim, which you gave is really a terrific one, because there was a guy working for 3M who was, I think his actual degree was in polymer sciences or degrees, and he was developing an adhesive. And what he got was an adhesive that was pretty sticky, but not a very good adhesive because it was easy to peel away.
Aha, yep.
and it also retained some of its stickiness. So he said, well, what can you do with an adhesive that's easy to peel away and will also re-stick? And guess what? There's the Post-it note.
And I just happen to have one right here on the desk, and I'm holding it up for the world to see.
Yeah, and so, here's a guy who says, well, I failed in making a really good adhesive, but here's a wonderful idea for an adhesive that's only partially an adhesive.
Mm-hmm. And so today we looked at brainstorming, and it's the first part of a creative process. Selling the idea is another part of it. Recognizing a good idea from a bad idea is another part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we've hit upon a number of things here today, Ralph.
Yeah, I think so. And, those of you who are more addicted to your phones, we'll have the apps up on Learn More. And in the meantime, think of the book by Osborne, Applied Imagination, which covers not only brainstorming, but a number of good ideas about getting your good ideas quantified.
Okay, well, until next week, this is Jim.
And Ralph.
Saying,
keep your stick on the ice.
because we're all in this together.